the person writes back and he says, I have autism, which is a mental condition. Is it? Is it a mental condition? Are you sure that it's a mental condition? Who says that autism is a mental condition? Oh, that's right. That's right. The same people who told me that borderline personality disorder is a mental condition. You see what I'm getting at here? Now, I'm going to go on record here and say that I'm not an autism expert, so I can't be dogmatic about anything. But the same community that says that borderline personality disorder is a mental condition, and it's not, it absolutely is not, 100% is not. You know, we've had this conversation a million times. If you're new to the show, go through the older episodes, find out why I say it's absolutely not. There's just no question about it. It's not a mental condition. But the same community of experts who say that borderline personality disorder is a mental condition when it's not are the same people that you have learned to view autism as a mental condition from. Again, I'm not an expert in autism, but I will tell you that that alone is enough to raise reasonable amounts of doubt within you and to not take their word at face value. See, I would be curious if I were sitting down and having a conversation with this individual, that would be my question. How do you know that? And I'm suspecting that it's going to go back because a therapist told me so. Okay, but the therapist also says that borderline personality disorder is a mental illness. And we know that's not true. We know it's absolutely 100% not true. But they insist it is. He goes on to say, with your help, I was already able to fix some underlying wrong perspectives, but sometimes I think the underlying problem is simply autism. Okay, I would agree that autism is problematic. But it's not the problem. The problem would be whatever causes autism. Whatever creates autism, that's the problem, right? Autism is the headache. Whatever causes the autism is the cancer. He goes on to say, first, not every inappropriate behavior is abusive. In the case of autism, it's simply rude. All right, we're talking in some absolutes here for things that we can't speak in absolutes about. Inappropriate and rude. What are those two terms? Do they describe an innate truth? Nope. What do they describe? They describe an opinion, a subjective opinion. Now let me ask you this. What is inappropriate? Who says so? Who says a thing is inappropriate or not inappropriate? It's completely subjective. Now, you folks are coming up with arguments about why I'm wrong. Let me ask you this, or let me say this, rather. Let me state this as a truth and see how it goes over with you. Women wearing pants in public is inappropriate. Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me? Well, most of you probably disagree with me in this day and age. But let's go back 150 years. Then, who would most agree with me or disagree with me? People would mostly agree with me, wouldn't they? That women wearing pants is inappropriate. So, it was inappropriate 100 years ago, according to a majority of people. But it was still just based on opinion, wasn't it? You know, when people state flatly things and state them flatly as a truth, as an innate truth, when it's a completely subjective thing, for me that is a red flag that the person is also thinking flatly and not using critical thought as much as possible in other areas too. He talks about his bachelor studies at university. Fixing the underlying problems, he says, would have made me quit earlier. Well, we're talking about, again, two different, we're not on the same page. When this person is talking about fixing the underlying problems, he's talking about fake, white-knuckle, superficial approach. Just not behaving a certain way, right? Just fighting against his inclinations. I'm not identifying the same thing as the problem as you are, and I'm not identifying the fix as being the same thing that you are. Why? Because my idea of the underlying problem is whatever's causing the autism. Now, it's interesting to me that this has not even occurred to this person, because the person is convinced that it is incurable, there's nothing he can do about it, it's a mental illness, it's a mental issue. And I'm even questioning that. You see, that's how you get to resolution. You do not take things at face value that the professional community tells you. Let's go back to my borderline personality disorder. All of the literature, everybody, all the professionals, all the experts tell you the same thing. They categorize it the same way as they're categorizing this person's autism. Now, if I had known that, I didn't even know it, I'm glad I didn't. But if I had known it, would that not have had a powerful effect on me? Yeah, of course it would have. I would have said, well, then there's no reason than me even trying. I'll just assume that is an unfixable problem, and I won't even try. But because I didn't know that, and because it's my nature to think in critical ways, in questioning ways, I just did not assume that it was a mental illness, because it's not a mental illness. It's an emotional disorder. But what folly it is to just completely throw your complete faith toward an organization that can't even get that right. They can't even get it right, that it's an emotional disorder.